Democratic Senators Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin are in the news a lot lately. The Senate is evenly divided, and these two are on record as being absolutely opposed to any elimination of the filibuster because they claim that it's essential for our democracy. In their words, without the filibuster, there is no chance for bipartisanship. And I want to make 3 points here. The first is that the senators are wrong. The filibuster actually does not promote bipartisanship. The second is that even if the filibuster did promote bipartisanship, that actually doesn't matter because bipartisanship is not the appropriate metric of success in a democracy. So we shouldn't strive for it. And then lastly, I just want to talk about why we should not eliminate the filibuster, but we should make some very key reforms to make the filibuster work. The filibuster does not foster cooperation between the majority and minority party in the United States Senate. In fact, it does the exact opposite. Unless the majority has a supermajority, the minority party knows that they can block any piece of legislation, so they have no incentive to come to the negotiating table and compromise and cooperate. But even if the filibuster did promote bipartisanship, it wouldn't matter because bipartisanship is not the appropriate goal in a democracy. It makes no sense that we have two opposing ideologies and the expectation is somehow we craft policy that merges those two. I mean, just imagine if there's an election and one party says we want blue and the other party says we want red, but the blue party wins, the expectation shouldn't be that we somehow give people purple. People didn't vote for purple. They voted for blue. So they expect blue, and that's what we should give them. The problem with the filibuster is that it's way too easy to utilize, and that's a relatively recent change. In the 70s, the Senate changed the rule to introduce something called the virtual filibuster. And they introduced this rule because prior to that, a filibuster meant that a senator actually had to hold the floor and continue to debate. They actually had to talk. Well, with debate going on, the Senate was unable to attend to any other business whatsoever. They were stuck dealing with the issue at hand that was being filibustered. So in the 70s, for the sake of convenience, the Senate rules were changed so that the idea of a virtual filibuster was introduced where people didn't actually have to talk and they could move on to consider other business. So the solution to the problem of the filibuster is not to eliminate it, but to reform it. And a very simple reform that we can make is to eliminate the virtual filibuster. If a senator is so adamantly opposed to a piece of legislation that they want to hold the floor and talk and promote debate until either they give up or a supermajority of senators disagree and vote to move on, then they have that right and they should be able to exercise that right. But they have to actually do the work. Now, opponents of the filibuster will just simply say, look, reform, reimagine, whatever. The filibuster is a racist construct. If you look at how it's historically been used to block civil rights legislation or to block progress on affording more liberties to more people. And they're right. That's historically how the filibuster has been used. To illustrate why I support reforming but not eliminating the filibuster, I think it's important to imagine a world where we don't have it. And we don't have to try too hard to imagine that world. In 2013, Senate Democrats changed the rules of the filibuster so that executive branch and non-Supreme Court judicial nominees were no longer subject to a supermajority threshold. And in retaliation, in 2017, when Republicans held the Senate, the House, and the presidency, they changed the rules so that the Supreme Court justices could be confirmed by a simple majority as well. And I'm sure that many Democrats wish that they had the ability to serve as a check during the confirmation hearings of Justice Brett Kavanaugh and Justice Amy Coney Barrett. But they couldn't. They couldn't filibuster. They had no ability to slow down or stop those confirmations. Imagine in the near future, there's a Republican majority and they want to institute policies that take rights away from women or minorities or underrepresented people. And if there's no filibuster to stop them, then what can we do? That reality isn't so far-fetched. Republicans, for many reasons, have institutional advantages that make it much easier for them to attain majorities in the Senate and in the House, even if they don't win the popular vote. If there's no filibuster to stop them, then those ideologies that can be harmful to so many people can just run rampant. If Democrats eliminate the filibuster, there may be some short-term political gain, but if Republicans ever get in the majority again, it will bite Democrats in the ass. It's already happened with judicial nominees. It will happen on legislation as well. So to me, the debate about the filibuster simply comes down to the question of whether you believe that the minority party in the United States Senate should have the ability to serve as a check on the majority party. And I think the answer is yes, with some caveats. That check has to be very hard to come by. Those senators have to talk. They've got to force debate to happen. They've got to focus on the issue until they give up or enough senators disagree and are ready to move on.